Today's episode of Wine and Dime is sponsored by Rooted Planning Group, a fee-only financial planning firm that believes life is about events, supported by your dollars and cents. And we want to help you achieve your goals. Hop on over to www.rootedpg.com to learn more about the services. Every week, it's my goal to share financial information that helps you in both your life and Financial Vineyard. We hope it takes you from your roots to the journey of your vines and the influences in the air that have helped craft your delicious life. Like wine, life and finances have different palates that should be celebrated and not judged. Well, Becky, welcome to the show. And we're excited to have you. By the time this thing is being released, hopefully little Amelia has made her appearance and you will officially be a new mom. Not that you're not officially now, but so welcome back to the show. And for anybody that's listening, just know that Becky is going to be taking a little hiatus from co-hosting for a few months while she enjoys the new addition to their family. So Becky, we wish you so much luck and we're so excited for you. We can't wait to meet her.
Thank you.
So today, we're in the month of November. We're getting together with families. Lots of good conversation comes up. Inevitably in my household, estate planning. I don't know why, but it's a great time to talk about it with families because everybody's together. In your situation this year, you're probably going to have a bit of a new angle on it. And I thought it would be fun for us to talk about estate planning for expecting or new parents, considering these are things that you're thinking about right now.
Yeah, and they're definitely big conversations to have, but really important to have as well.
Yeah. So as you and Colin have been planning for this bundle of joy to make her appearance, what are some of the things? It's so funny that we sit, I don't know about you, but when Brett and I are in a car and we're traveling, we talk about the craziest stuff. And this is the kind of stuff we talk about. And it's just so nonchalant. And I know this is not easy stuff to talk about normally. But what are some of the things that you and Colin have talked about, or you and your family have talked about?
Yeah, so Colin and I, we've really been talking about how do we prepare for Amelia's arrival, making sure we have all of our documents in place, so that way, when it's time to go to the hospital, we're ready.
Yeah.
Instead of scrambling.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you've been putting in place?
Yeah, so we've been gathering what we call our red file, which is copies of items like your social security card, driver's license or passport, and insurance cards, in particular health insurance for this event. Mm-hmm. Birth certificates, marriage certificates, vaccination records, or at least, the ability to access the online portal for the medical.
Yeah. All of those things that you don't think about, it would be really helpful if Colin has access to your portal should he need it, right?
Right. Yeah. And we're also actually taking a step beyond for us and putting together basically a permission slip for our pets. So that way, whoever's caring for them, if an emergency comes up with them, both of our parents and siblings have permission to take them to the vet and get whatever care is needed.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's nothing real formal, just a letter stating that they have permission from us and the vet can call us if they need, but to go ahead and perform whatever procedures are needed.
What's interesting about that is we talk so much about HIPAA releases for kids, for aging children or spouses or anything like that. But that's basically the same thing that you're saying for your pet. You're basically saying you're giving a HIPAA release or a healthcare proxy for your pet in your situation. That's a really good idea. And you may be home quickly, but once you get home, you may not feel up to running to the vet, or, you might not feel like you can leave the house right away. So even if it's not a medical emergency for you, it might be a convenience factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart. So thinking about some of the other things that now that you're going to be parents, has it moved up the scale at all, some of your personal estate planning documents on top of that?
Yeah, so we haven't actually formally prepared anything yet. that is definitely, I keep hounding Colin that we need to get that done. I'm sure at this point he's very sick of my telling him that. Almost every night on our walks, I bring it up. But, we have had the conversations about guardianship and, who we want to list and, starting those conversations.
Which is so tough.
It is. And, you have to consider both sides of the family as to who you want to take care of your children, or maybe in some situations, it's not a family member, and conveying that conversation to your family that you want someone else to take care of your children.
That could be a fun Thanksgiving conversation.
Yes.
Woo. But in some cases, I think it might be a relief too, because if you think about it, you have a sister and Colin has siblings as well. So from a standpoint of okay, we know what the plan is, right? If something happens, God forbid, to either of you, we know what the plan is. Secondly, it might be a relief to the grandparents, because grandparents want to stay involved in their grandchild's life. And if they know what the plan is and they know they're still involved in some way, shape, or form, that may be a relief to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, they've already gone through the stage of life of, don't really want to say being held down by kids, but not having the flexibility to do what they want and to travel. And so to know that they can still, see their grandchildren, but maybe not have to fully be responsible for them is a big relief.
Well, they raise their kids to raise kids, not to raise their kids. Kids.
Yep.
So, thinking about, are there other estate planning documents that you think would be really critical for somebody that is about to have children, or maybe has infant children, new family, new parents, that sort of thing?
Yeah. A healthcare proxy is really critical, and HIPAA release.
Maybe explain what those are.
Yeah. So the HIPAA release basically allows someone who, whether it's a spouse or some family member, to actually receive updates on your health. So, if you don't have a HIPAA release signed, the hospitals don't have to give out your information.
In fact, they're kind of restricted, right?
Yep. Yeah. And sometimes with, a spouse or something, they have a little, they're a little bit more lenient there. But, if someone calls to check in on you, or, you have to go in for some kind of emergency procedure, it's good to be able to actually share your updates with family. And then the healthcare proxy gives someone who you trust the legal ability to make healthcare decisions for you. So, if you're in surgery and you're not able to make your own healthcare decisions, then the doctor can reach out to your healthcare proxy and they can actually make decisions on your behalf.
So what if you were incapacitated and decisions needed to be made on Amelia? What sort of documents can be put in place for that?
Yeah. So, if you have another parent who's in the picture, then they can certainly make decisions on that as well. But,
that's an important thing to think through and work with the estate planning attorney on is what if both you and Colin are not able to make you're just, you're alive, but you're incapacitated. You're not able to speak. So, what documents are there that would actually step in if decisions needed to be made for Amelia? And I think those are things that sort of gets into legal advice that we don't want to, step on toes with regards to that. But I think it's a topic to talk to your attorney about when you're planning for this wonderful new event in your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as with any estate document, make sure that whoever you do list on your documents, make sure that they're aware that they're listed. The last thing you want is for some kind of emergency to be happening and for the person to get a phone call or something and they have no idea that, you listed them, let alone what your wishes would be.
Yeah, there was a movie. I can't remember the name of it right now. The two characters were surprised that they were co-custodians of their friend's child. And the movie, I think, is a great movie to watch and get a feel for what it would be like if you were to fall into the responsibility of caregiving? Because if somebody came to me and said, hey, Amy, we'd love to name you as our child's custodian. First of all, I would say, what were you thinking? We live in 2 states. Are you sure you really want to do that? Not that I don't love children. You know, I love them very much, but you really want, like, is that something that you would be okay with? You know, how would we do that for your child? That would be a conversation I would want to have, not to mention, would I raise them the same way that you would want them raised? And I don't know how you want them raised. That'd be a conversation I would have to have with somebody. So all of those things, making sure that the person that you're naming is on board with it and aware and kind of accepts that responsibility, it's pretty important. And it's, I think, important to you guys to know that they're okay with it, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. Everyone raises their kids a little bit different, and to have that conversation is, could give you a really good peace of mind.
Yeah, I wish I could think of the name of that movie. It'll come to me probably sometime in the middle of the night. I'll sit up and go, oh, that's the name of the movie.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're thinking about, but I can't put a name on it either.
We'll probably get a million messages, giving us the name of the movie after the podcast has released. So before we get into the second half of the podcast, I want to take just a quick break to talk about this week's wine pick. What I've been doing is keeping it more general in nature, because as fall kind of hits and Thanksgiving rolls around, some of my favorite wines are more rosé and white wines to go with Thanksgiving, although I'm generally a red wine drinker as a preference. But we've been featuring in the month of November a winery called Airlie. Airlie is an all-women owned and run winery out of Oregon, and it's one that Brent and I came across when we were out there in July. And I just love what they're doing with their wines. And I think that if you're looking for something unique and different, and of course, I love the Finger Lakes, everybody knows that, but something that's outside of the Finger Lakes area, or if you want to try some fauches, take a peek at their website. They have some really amazing blends, and I just want to give them a shout out for all the cool things that they're doing. I know that doesn't seem like it fits in the middle of our conversation talking about somebody who is about to have a baby and can't drink wine, but I think it's always fun to think about, well, what happens after baby comes? We can celebrate a little bit with a glass of wine here and there to relax mama's nerves just a tad bit, maybe, or just to sit back and relax on a date night as well. So I hope everybody that has a chance can go out to their website. That's our feature of the month of November. And we hope that you find something that you very much enjoy out there. So Becky, kind of switching back to the conversation that we were having about estate planning, are there any tips or recommendations that you would give to get, like, what have you guys done to get your mind around this? This is a shift in your life, right? What have you done to get your mind around this new journey that you're about to go down?
Yeah. Thankfully, Colin's very open to conversation. So we've been talking just a lot, and we do it when we're outside, getting our nightly walk and fresh air. But yeah, we've been, trying to think through different scenarios of what might different things look like. I know it's impossible to predict everything, but to kind of start like what if planning. Mm-hmm. I know that's something we do in financial planning. So to bring it into our personal lives with, prepping for Amelia has been very helpful for both of us.
Are there any things that have surprised you that is if you brought up certain topics, you're like, whoa, glad we're talking about this. Maybe we wouldn't be if this stage of our life wasn't starting.
Yeah. Different things about, this is way down the road, but, school districts. And, right now we're very happy in the house that we're in, but, we may not want to send our kids to the school district that we're in. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like? And even though it's years down the road, it's still something that's like, okay, this is going to come quick. And how should we plan for it?
And those are the perfect things to have in the estate planning documents, right? So if God forbid anything happened to you guys and, the person that you've named knows those things, those are important decisions to you guys. You're having these conversations. It's really critical that those things are documented somewhere. Like, we would prefer that our child go to school at X place or X school district. We would prefer our child have these experiences. Those are really important things to document. And when we think about estate planning, often we think about the will, the power of attorney, the healthcare proxy, and we think about assets that are left. But when we are thinking about young children, there's a lot of life that we hope for those young children. And I think it's really important that some of those be documented so that the life that you want to give her is the life that as close as possible that can be given. You know, we always wonder, like, if somebody doesn't have something planned out, we guess. Whereas if you guys have had these conversations and have documented them, then there won't be any guessing. And we hope that it would never have to be used, but at least it would be a clear plan as far as what you would have wanted.
Yeah. And it takes the guesswork out of your family members that are surviving and hopefully reduces any tension, from them.
Which there can be a lot of.
Yeah. Because really you're taking two completely different families and blending, responsibility or decision-making and such across them. And if you're out of the equation, then, sometimes you act as like a buffer between families.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, we want families to come closer together in times of grief. Or disability. We don't want them to get farther apart. And so if it's written somewhere, then it's less likely to become something that people will guess and feud about, right? We don't want that to happen.
Right.
Any final tips that you would give to new parents?
Take each day by day, and, try plugging away at conversations. They can be very difficult conversations. And try finding a peaceful spot where, you don't get upset with your spouse or significant other. So that way, you can really have a clear mind to make rational decisions.
I love that tip. Finding a space where you both can feel free to open to talk. Yeah, I think that's true of every marriage and every situation. So that's great advice. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the show today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. We know this was some pretty deep conversation, but we want everybody to be thinking about this. And as Becky said, it's better to have it in writing and to plan it out if something should ever happen, and we hope it never does. We'd love it if you share this with your friends and rate us on iTunes so that more people can find us like you did. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send them our way. We'd love to answer any questions that you have or make future shows about topics that you want to hear about. Thank you, everyone. And Becky, we wish you the best of luck in the next few months. We know that you and Colin are going to make beautiful babies, and we can't wait to meet Amelia.
Oh, thank you. We're very excited.
And that will about do it for today's episode of Wine and Dine. You can contact Amy through the website, www.rootedpg.com, or amy@rootedpg.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram @rootedpg for the latest news. And if you have any questions, comments, or topics you would like to hear about, feel free to let us know. And don't forget to rate and subscribe the show wherever you get your podcasts. And again, thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next time.